But the advantage that Bailey has as being my child is that I have raised not only her physical being, but I have raised her consciousness. So she at least knows, I do not understand what my mom is saying, but I know that my mom knows what she's saying. Therefore, I'm going to heed her advice, whether I have received it and consciously understand it. Cognizantly is on the physical side, consciously is on the spiritual side. So with that background information, now we can go into the conversation with Jay-Z. Everybody is thinking that he's going to come and give them some business tactics. And if that's where your level of consciousness is, those are the type of questions you're going to ask. Now me, as I study manifestation and I start picking up different aspects and tools and understanding that manifestation is real, like what I said I'm going to do, I am going to do. Matter of fact, it's already done. I already live in that space. It's just my physical world has to catch up with it. But I'm learning how to collapse time, so we're going to speed this little clock up. Y'all probably didn't even understand what the hell I'd said because I didn't understand it before until I elevated consciousness, and now I can hear what I couldn't hear before. But Jay-Z is saying what I can tell you, how I manifested, because Jay-Z figured it out. Like Sis said right here, we're all manifesting, but there's certain people who actually pay attention and figure it out, i.e. myself. One day last year, I can't find the post, but I said, I'm going to figure life out, and I have figured this bitch out. Y'all see me figuring life out? I done figured this bitch out. I can help you too. Pick up your copy of What's the Best I Can Happen at LoneeTaylorArt.com, as well as your merch. For those of us who understand that there is a methodology and an application to manifestation, and we understand that this man pulled himself up out of the projects, and we are truly interested and want to know and believe and know that manifestation is real, because we have either intentionally manifested or we understand that this life that we're leading, regardless of what it is, we've manifested this stuff too. He figured out how to be a billionaire. I need to sit down and talk to this man. While y'all asking business questions, physical world, I'm asking manifestation questions, spirit world, application questions. We are not the same. But Jay-Z understands, and most of you don't understand, that you don't have the consciousness or cognizant ability to understand anything that he says anyway. Just like my videos, you guys are probably thinking I'm talking about some child that passed away and, talking to my daughter and consciousness and all. This is probably what you think I'm talking about, but I'm talking about something totally different. But those who know picked it up, and those who don't just heard what I said. What most people don't have the consciousness or comprehension to understand is that when people communicate who are at a higher consciousness, it's like a tree. Most people hear the trunk. Those who actually are at the elevated consciousness hear the branches, and I hear the branches. And that is why I will take dinner or lunch with Jay-Z any day over 500K. And now that we understand comprehension disparities, understand as you elevate your consciousness, your spouse is not elevating at your same rate. It's not that they're choosing to misunderstand you. They literally cannot understand you even though you're speaking the same language. Because at their level of consciousness, they hear you speaking the trunk. They don't see the branches, and as you elevate your consciousness, you could be on any branch at any time. So in that respect, you can now have compassion, because it's not that they're choosing to misunderstand. They truly don't understand, and you should understand that, right? Since my life is a classroom, back to my spouse who chooses to continue to block knowledge because he doesn't understand. As long as he chooses to fight me in this process instead of receiving that, I don't know what she's talking about, but I see her and I see what she's doing, so she knows what she's talking about. Let me just trust it until I do understand it. We have to understand that we are cutting ourselves off from knowledge simply because we do not have the cognition or the consciousness capabilities to understand it at the time. But if we could look at the source of the information, i.e. Jay-Z, the billionaire, i.e. your spouse, a person you trusted enough to marry, but you don't trust enough to elevate your consciousness. Like maybe they see something you don't see. If we could look at the source of the information, whether we understand it or not, we need to sit in the room with it. All these videos and books that I'm reading, like I'm literally reading the Quran and the Bible right now, and I'm like, okay, I can actually understand it enough to where I can decipher it and break it down and start questioning it. Like, this makes absolutely no sense. How the hell did Adam and Eve become aware that they were naked and all of a sudden feel shame? Is shame innate? Are we supposed to feel shame in things? Because who taught them to feel shame? I always thought shame was from outside judgment, i.e. I feel shame because people are looking at me about whatever behavior I'm exhibiting, and because it is absent of the popular societal agreed upon behavior, now I feel shame. But as soon as Adam and Eve's eyes were opened, they felt shame. Why? I've read that verse a million times and never questioned that. But that's a real question. My level of consciousness is elevated to where I see things that I didn't previously see. So if a source is coming to you in all these videos I'm watching, last year, the year before, however many years ago I encountered this information. I've known about quantum science since The Secret, and none of it ever made sense. And now someone can talk about time collapsing and angel code language and all these different terminology and all this stuff, and it makes sense. It didn't before, but now it does because I raised my consciousness. What you have to understand is that as long as you cut yourself off from knowledge that you don't understand, you are limiting your elevation, your consciousness. If you are trying to manifest, if you are trying to elevate your life, if you are trying to do anything, if you are trying to just get up out of the mental space that you currently live in, but you cut yourself off from information, everybody that clicks off of one of my videos because, oh, she's talking too long, or, oh, I don't know what she's talking about, or, oh, she sounds dumb, it's because you're not at the consciousness level to understand what I'm saying and to comprehend what I'm saying. But those of you who are just aware enough to know, she's saying something. The exposure is planting a seed that will give forth life and fruit in its time as you elevate your consciousness. But this is something a knowledge seeker would know. If you are not a knowledge seeker, or you disillusioned yourself into believing that you are a knowledge seeker, you would never understand what I just said.